Hi guys, dan selamat kembali ke studio Sembang. We're back for another week, and this week in the studio we have somebody very, very special to me, a really close friend of mine, Julia Marin. Thank you so much for joining us, babe.
Thank you for having me, Amelia.
Selamat
Always wanted to
datang
be. I'm a big fan of Studio Sembang. I've watched every episode except for Alex's. I'll get there. I'll get to that episode soon. But I've been very busy, so I missed that episode. But yeah.
Tak apa, ada masa lagi. Because Alex punya episode, okay, hari ni kita shooting, Alex punya episode baru je keluar. Next week is Diana Danielle, sebab diorang akan tahu dah. And then after that is your episode juga.
Right.
So we're like relatively back to back. So macam biasa, kita akan start the show as normal with your backstory.
Okay.
So you are mixed, correct?
Correct.
Malaysian Italian. So boleh tak you ceritakan sikit pasal your latar belakang, you dilahirkan kat mana, and then you membesar kat mana, bila you balik Malaysia, and the like.
Okay, so I was born in Sabah. And then immediately after, a few months, we moved to Australia. And I grew up in Australia. And then I think around 12 or 13, because it was like back and forth a lot. But I permanently stayed in KL since I was 13.
Okay.
So yeah. And then I went to school here. And yeah, that's about it. That's where I moved around.
Got it. And so, macam mana pengalaman you sebagai seorang yang macam dilahirkan kind of like, or membesar, overseas in Australia, coming back to Malaysia? Was there a culture shock for you? Sebab normally bila orang balik macam dalam umur macam 4-5, diorang tak rasa sangat. But after you've really done like your half of your primary education dekat situ, you datang balik, was there a culture shock for you?
Definitely, because we have different education system. And then there was also that the whole culture thing is very different here. And then people always saw me as someone who is weird or different, and I could never adapt in the beginning. In the beginning, I was deemed too loud or too expressive. Because in Malaysia, I think growing up in KL, I was very shocked to see that everybody is very reserved. And I was someone who's very outspoken. I've always wanted to be like friends with everyone. I would say hi to everyone and try to make friends with everyone. And to them, it was seen as an attention seeker. Then I slowly, gradually became more quiet.
Really?
And when I'm quiet, they think, oh, budak ni sombong, mentang-mentang daripada Australia, tak nak borak dengan orang. I'm like, dude, what's going on? I'm so confused. So I think that was a struggle when I was shifted from a culture that is very open and very expressive to a culture that is very reserved.
I think it's so interesting sebab dari macam pengalaman saya lah untuk jumpa dengan you. I still remember the first time we met was on set. You datang set because I think you maybe were working on a different project or whatever with the director. And then the second time, the time yang kita betul-betul kenal, I think was maybe at like Idris's house. There was a dia buat a small get together, and then you were there, and I was like, oh my god, girl, like finally kita dapat bercakap. Sebab normally you know lah, this industry kita akan berjumpa macam alang-alang lah dekat event.
Yes.
Tak pernah sempat berborak. So that was like the first time I got to speak to you, and I macam sangat terkejut because I was like, wow, ni gang sebenarnya macam sama kepala. Like we had a lot in common.
Yep, we did.
So, but you never struck me as somebody who is more reserved, I think.
Really? I think I get that a lot in the industry. Orang selalu cakap macam, oh, you sombong, tak nak borak dengan orang.
Seriously?
And especially on set, because I think people don't understand that when I'm on set, especially if it's a heavy drama, or even if it's not a heavy drama, I love to be in my space.
Yeah, faham.
Saya suka duduk sorang and then go through my script, or just mentally and emotionally prepare myself for whatever the scenes that is coming next. So I think a lot of people always thought that I was very sombong and too opinionated. So macam I think, but when I go to events, people in the industry are more open and more warm. Yes. Because
tapi
they don't
also
know me
maybe
on
mentality set. Kan dekat event, sebab time tu you tak payah hafal whatever.
Correct.
Mungkin kejap lagi you tak adalah
You're
scene menangis.
completely yourself.
Betul.
Tapi kalau on set kita ada several scenes that's coming up, you already know, okay, berapa scene nak kena menangis, berapa scene nak kena marah. And I'm always the antagonist. For the past 5 years, I'm always the antagonist. So I'm telling you guys, nampak senang, okay, dekat kamera, dekat TV nampak senang, like it's so easy marah je kan, but it takes so much of your energy, your entire soul is out there, and you're like, oh my god, I'm exhausted.
Penat sebenarnya.
Penat.
I have a lot of questions to ask you pasal macam the industry, macam mana you terjebak dalam industri ni. Tapi sebelum tu, I nak tanya something also that's interesting. Sebab I rasa it's a very different perspective. And it's a perspective yang I boleh relate juga. Like, what is it like coming from a multicultural background? Sebab for me juga, my parents are both from like different places, and so I rasa always that was a kelebihan. Kadang-kadang dia susah sebab untuk kita jumpa identity sendiri pun jadi masalah juga. Sebab I pun macam tak sure lah macam nak jawab, so I always answer Malaysian. But what was it like for you?
For me, confusing. Growing up, very confusing because I never got a relationship with my dad. So my mom and dad separated. Lepas tu masa diorang berpisah tu, I never got to know my dad's culture, which is Italian. He's pure Italian. And then my mom is from Sabah, but I never grew up in Sabah. I don't know anyone from Sabah. And I only speak the dialect because my mom speaks the dialect. So whenever she calls me, suddenly I'm Sabahan and everyone's looking at me like,
wow,
what?
That's so cool.
And then I just automatically shift because if I don't speak in her dialect, she doesn't understand me.
Okay.
So I have to. So growing up, I think it's very confusing for me because I don't know. I don't know what my culture is like.
Betul.
I don't know which side am I more.
You
Am I
feel
more mom? Am I more dad?
Yeah, identifying with that.
So I think I created my own identity. I like to think that I am a Malaysian.
Yeah.
I love to think that I'm Malaysian because I think half of my life was exposed to Malaysian culture. Tapi I still love my pizza and pasta.
Oh
So
my
I think
God.
food.
Sangat.
You know, my mom says this a lot to me. Especially when she's angry with
Yeah.
me, she's like, "You may not look like an Italian, you may not sound like one, but you eat like one, you smell like one." And I'm like, "What do you mean I smell like an Italian?"
Tiba benda like that. I think this is normal for moms kan. Kalau my mom tengah tengok this episode, you know what she always says to me? Anytime ada apa-apa yang I buat yang memang best, dia akan cakap, "Oh, you tengok genetik I memang kuat dalam you." And then kalau I buat benda yang salah, silap, tak best, yang menyakit hati dia or
completely your father.
It's like you are like your dad. I'm like, this is standard lah. Standard I rasa.
Memang standard. I think every mom's out there like that.
Tapi satu lagi penting yang sangat menarik, satu lagi benda yang sangat menarik, which I tak boleh relate in this thing, is because my mom speaks English. She was born in England, and my dad speaks English. He was born in Scotland. Tapi you come from two different backgrounds. So like, what languages do you speak? What languages do you speak at home? Like, macam mana? What was the situation?
Mostly English with my siblings, but with my mom, Sabahan Malay.
Okay.
So sometimes I don't know what she's talking about. And I would get probably like if I get her to try to translate it to me, she'd get mad at me.
Oh
so
my
I just
God.
pretend I understand. I read body language and I read like, you know, something.
And you're like, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, buat faham je.
Auntie kita minta maaf. I'm so sorry, Julia's mom.
She's fine. She knows this by now.
I macam baru start nak belajar bahasa Sabahan sikit sekarang because I'm working with Tracy Sinadol. She just won the Dairy Maja and she's been teaching me all of the best things to say.
Yeah, I don't know any of them. So even if you tell
Tak apa, kejap lagi I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
But that's so cool. And I think macam dia membolehkan you ada banyak lagi peluang. Tapi satu lagi benda yang menarik pasal Julia is you can actually speak Mandarin.
Yes, fluently. 我会讲华语.
Okay, so
I learned from my friends.
Oh, wow.
Because I am surrounded by Chinese all the time since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So they would always speak in Mandarin and I'm always left out. And then I went to Tunku Abdul Rahman College and 99% of the people spoke Mandarin. And I'm always left out because I don't know what they're talking about. So I'm like, I got to learn the language. So when I was a teenager, I started picking up the language.
Yeah.
And even prior to that, we went to Chinese school for a while, but I did not pick up the subject.
Okay, faham.
Because I never had Chinese background growing up.
Faham.
So I never had like a Chinese education. So I went to Chonghua High School, but I never took up the Chinese subject. That's not in my SPM results.
Faham.
So everything is in English. So eventually I just picked it up because I was in a Chinese school. I was surrounded by Chinese, and then I went to a college that was surrounded by Chinese.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I
so
learned
cool.
the language.
Itulah betul-betul macam Malaysian. You know, you can speak English, Malay, Mandarin. Kita just kena belajar bahasa Tamil lah next. And then maybe some Sabahan and...
Tamil is very hard. I tried.
Really? Did you try? This girl dia nak tapau semua bahasa dekat Malaysia. Okay.
I tried, but it's really hard. It's very hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's
It's like one of the most difficult languages to learn.
I try to represent my community, tapi pada masa sama like sumpah lah aku tahu Romba Nandrian dan dia habis dekat situ sebenarnya. Minta maaf. But anyways, so you come from this really like eclectic background yang you banyak belajar different things, and I think you banyak exposure juga. But I also read online that like, so my next question is actually macam mana you terjebak dalam the entertainment industry, because I also ada baca that your mom was kind of more interested in you studying daripada jadi seorang pelakon. So tell us that story.
So I've always I'll tell you how I got exposed to acting.
Okay.
So I got exposed to acting when I was in school. They needed someone to do what is the thing when you do a monologue. So they needed someone to do a monologue, and then after that I did Malay. Is it Sajak? Sajak Syarahan is the longer version, right? Does everybody know? Okay, it's
Semua
definitely
macam
Sajak.
okay.
I think it's Sajak. And then from there, I developed this interest. Jadi minat nak berlakon because within like a monologue or a saja, you kind of have to put in emotions.
Betul.
And you have to. It's basically acting.
Monologues are acting, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's basically acting. And then I got very interested, and then I joined group plays, and then I realized, whoa, how come I've never felt this before? I felt
Budak
like,
theatre lah ni.
yeah, loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I always volunteer for any shows or any plays. And then when I finished high school, I told my mom about this. And then I told her I might want to pursue acting. Oh, she was like, no, absolutely forbidden. So I was like, yeah, my mom is someone you don't want to argue with because she's always right. And so this one time I came up with a whole PowerPoint.
Like a page, macam pergi buat Shark Tank dengan your mom. Like, here mom, I'm going to be an actor.
I did. I remember crying in the car, begging her to just give me a chance. I need to show you what I'm up to. I need to show you my plan.
Yeah, my God.
She still said no.
Alamak, tapi tak apa, effort tu ada.
She said no. So this Ratu the movie audition came up, and I saw it in the papers.
And you went, right, without your mom knowing?
I went without my mom's permission, and I went with my auntie.
Okay.
So I said, can you take me? It's at Pavilion. And then she was like, okay, your mom's going to kill me, but you really want to do this? I'm like, I just want to audition. If I get it, don't get it, that's a belakang cerita. Yang penting pergi dulu. I just want to see if I ever have a chance. So we went. A week later, I'm not sure who put my mom's number in the form. I don't remember whether it was me or my auntie. They called my mom, said I got the part. And then, and I heard on the phone, my mom was like, apa? Movie apa? Siapa? Julia? And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I got the part. I was more excited about getting the part.
Yeah, of course.
Than my mom getting mad at me. So I was like, I'll think about my mom getting mad at me. I'll handle that later.
Macam
but I
yang
got
tu
the
kemudian
part. Yeah. So I asked my mom. I was like, can I do it? She's like, no. And I was
Serious?
like, no. Yeah.
Auntie?
I didn't do it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I didn't talk to her for a month.
Oh my
because I was
gosh,
like,
faham.
I went and I auditioned and I got the part, and my
Yeah.
mom said no. So I was like, you know what, never mind, it's okay. We'll just go complete our studies and see
Yeah.
what happens. And then I end up working at a bank for a few years. I never, ever revisited that idea of becoming an actress. Ever.
Until?
Never touched it until I got into an accident. And then I couldn't go to work for 2 weeks. And then kebetulan masa tu
Dia punya selamba ni memang tak boleh pakai lah. Dia macam, and then I got into an accident and then I'm like, wait, jap, sis, and you were out of work for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What happened?
So I got into an accident. That's a long story. Let's just skip that part and go to what happened after.
Okay, tak apa.
So I got into an accident, and then it was a car accident, and then I got badly hurt. And then when I went back to the office, my manager was like, Julia, you masih lagi berbalut semua. Go home and rest. And I'm like, what am I going to do for 2 weeks? I might as well work. They said, Julia, go home. So I went home. Kebetulan, my group of friends at the time, there was this one guy who was in the entertainment industry. And then he just randomly called me up and said, hey, so this movie, I remember Shaizi Sam, �12𝙀𝙀, and 𝘏𝑍𝑍𝑘𝙗. And they said, we're looking for a policewoman. And then watak kecil je. It's
Time
only
tu tangan
like,
you tengah berbalut lah. Sister macam, okay, tak apa, boleh.
And then I thought about it. I was like, oh my God, that
Umur you berapa
idea.
time ni?
24 or 25.
Okay.
Lepas tu, I thought like, that idea of becoming an actress is coming back. But then I was like, you know what, let's just do it. How much to pay?
That was the banking.
How much to pay? I'm like, okay lah, boleh lah. I'm not doing anything anyway for 2 weeks. So I went on set. And then I remember my friend told me this. I remember this specifically. It's so funny. Because he said, remember, you police tau. So you masuk set je, you kena act macam police. Ada siapa-siapa tanya you, it's like cosplay, okay? What do you do? Never stay out of character no matter what you do. Makan pun macam police, cakap macam police. And that's, I took that seriously. I take instructions very seriously. So I said, okay, I got it. Stop telling me. So director comes up to me and he says, police, Puan polis ke? Oh, dari mana? Ya, dari Dangwangi.
Oh, dia tiba. Itu betul-betul pelakon lah. Itu namanya method.
Yeah, and then I got confused because everybody now on set is talking about how I'm a real policewoman, and I was like, I'm confused. Do I still stay in character?
Oh my God.
And then we got to this scene where Farid come in dengan dia polis, dia ketua polis, and I'm assisting him. So we're both looking down at Shaizi Sam and 𝘏𝑍𝑍𝑘𝙗, and I don't know anything about shots at that time. So they were taking our shot, and then we were looking down, and there was no 𝙭𝙎𝙐 So now I got so confused. I was like, what are we looking at? What are we staring at? And then after cut, the director was like, oh, she's such an amazing actress. She's so natural. And I'm like, no, I was genuinely blur. I was genuinely blur because
direct you time tu?
oh my god, I lupa nama dia.
Tak apa, we skip this
But I
part.
remember, I remember just continuing being that policewoman, but I was so confused the whole time.
Tahu pula.
And they thought I was like an amazing actress.
Tapi yang penting,
And I got
you
jobs
dah-
after that.
Tapi you dah confusekan everybody on set sampai diorang
Exactly.
betul-betul percaya, and that's what acting is lah sebenarnya. Kan? Tapi I think like the best acting advice, I faham you punya acting advice is the one that you need to be your character as soon as you masuk set kan. The best acting advice yang I ever pernah dapat macam lebih kurang sama je. It's bring your own energy to set. And I got this from the one and only Nazim Othman. He told me, because I selalu macam kadang-kadang when I'm on set, like if the role is like stressful or whatever, I pun kena macam ada ruang tu untuk macam berfikir pasal whatever. But he said, girl, you gotta bring your energy to set. And I was like, what do you mean? And I macam time tu I tak faham. And sekarang I realise ni something that's so important. It's like when you bring that character with you from home. You tak boleh nak datang set, sampai on set baru you start nak fikir pasal character you macam mana. Tak, benda tu dah kena preparation dari awal lagi. So
Correct.
it's the best acting advice I ever got. Lebih kurang sama macam you punya.
Yeah.
So anyways, so that whole thing happened. Macam mana you dapat convincekan your mom? Like what was the like clicking point for you di mana mak you cakap, okay, sebenarnya aku sokong je you nak jadi seorang pelakon?
That never happened because after that I had to quit banking, right?
Yeah.
So I told myself I'm going to give myself a year to save up because I know it's not going to be easy. If you're freelancing, you have to think about 2 years down the road
Betul.
financially.
Betul.
So I saved up for a year. I went back to banking for about a year plus.
Yeah.
And then I saved up enough. I downsized my lifestyle to pursue acting. And I told my mom, this is my plan. She said no.
Ni dah tak ada pitch dah. This is
No,
like this
she
is the
still
good
said
plan.
no. You're
Seriously?
crazy. Yep, no, Julia, no. She's like, you're in a good position. You just got promoted. Stick to your banking.
Yeah.
Just continue studies. Stick to what you're doing now. You're doing well. And I'm like, for once, I'm not going to listen to my mom. And then I was like, Mom, okay. So I continued. It took me months to convince her. And I said, okay, how about this? Give me 1 year. If dalam setahun ni saya tak capai apa yang saya cakap saya akan capai, I'll quit. So I had to work really hard. I literally dengan muka tak malu pergi knock on everybody's doors, show them my resume, what I can offer as an actress. And then I went to classes. I went to Fazanawi's class. I went to Finas. I went to Fatima Abu Bakar's class. I signed up literally for everything just to prove that I'm worth a shot. And then eventually 1 year later, I got my first big lead. And finally Mom says, okay. And she saw a few of my dramas and she was like, never knew you had it in you. And I was like,
Anti kejam.
yeah. And I was like, okay. So she's
I
like,
faham.
I support you. Like a year after being an actress.
Faham.
Then she
Tapi-
gave me the blessings.
To be honest, babe, I faham sangat. Sebab I rasa macam budak-budak zaman sekarang, semua orang ada impian nak jadi TikToker. TikToker, semua nak jadi macam Instagram influencer dan macam-macam lah nak jadi pelakon or whatever. And sekarang dia punya exposure kepada this industry is so much more daripada dulu. Sebab dulu kita tak ada direct communication dengan kita punya audience, right? So sekarang we can self-publish. Every day we self-publish on Instagram. But time tu tak ada. So you ada apa yang keluar in the news. And benda ni kalau you tak ada dalam industry ni, you tak akan nampak. Like what's the capacity, what's the volume. Macam, so I understand that like when I talk to a lot of my actor friends, semua lebih kurang ada masalah yang sama, which is how to convince the parent. Because obviously with a job macam secure, macam banking kind, like that's more of a traditional job in the sense that dia tahu anak dia selamat.
Correct.
So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But girl, she's not just an actress, she's an award-winning actress. Thank you very much. Tell us about that. And then after that, you kena bagi tahu kita, you punya mom punya reaction macam mana bila dia dapat tahu you dah menang award.
And she never knew.
Huh?
So what happened?
What?
So what happened was I did this short called Lifeline.
Okay.
Okay. And then that was, I think it was my second year of acting. So I did this short called Lifeline. And then on that show, suddenly it went to several film festivals. And then I got a call from my director saying, oh my God, you're nominated as one of the best actresses amongst 6,000 actresses that were enrolled. And I was like, okay, so I'm top 5. And then they said, oh, they got us flight tickets, by the way, to Russia and whatnot. It's fully sponsored. So I was like, I can't. I'm shooting, and I bet I'm not going to win. I knew, like, I told my director, nah, I'm not going to win. Top 5 is good enough for me. I'm happy. And then they got there a week later. He called me in the middle of shoot. He calls me and he says, Julia, you won. And I didn't give him a speech or anything because I was so sure that I wasn't going to win. Because amongst the top 5 was me. I think it was the first time and the only time a Malaysian was ever nominated. And then there was a French actress, American actress, and the other 2 I can't remember. Lepas tu, when he said I won, I was like, that's not funny. And then he said, no, Julia, you won. Like, you won. And then I was like, I won? Are you serious? I should have brought it lah kan? The one is so
for
pretty.
sure. Tak apa, nanti you snap gambar, I akan letakkan dalam the video.
It's really pretty.
See.
And then it says that Julia Marin, Best Actress, and I'm like, I still can't believe it. Because it's like, whoa, that's an achievement for me. And I was like, Mom! See?
Yeah.
I'm like, I did it. And then, but till today, she thinks it's not a Malaysian award festival. So she's like, nah, it's just something that is something that people don't actually know. So I was like,
so this is a bit of a controversial question. Sebab I think for the most part, bila macam I search online, I dapat tahu information ni online that you won an award. Tapi pada masa yang sama, pada masa benda ni berlaku in the industry, coverage tu macam tak sampai dekat Malaysia.
Yeah, I think because I was very new and nobody cared. Honestly, that's what it is.
But that's so confusing to me. I selalu rasa pelik lah pasal benda ni because like when you win an award overseas, you know how crazy of an achievement that is.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing. And so I harap macam maybe at least from here or whatever in the future, macam kita akan ada lagi appreciation kepada anak-anak seni kita yang dapat menang anugerah ke overseas.
And I'm not the only one. There are so many other actors and actresses who won. Who won these awards outside of Malaysia, you know?
Faham. But at the same time, I'm so proud of you, dude.
Thank you.
And so sejak tu, you've been acting ever since and you're still acting now. Are you working on anything at the moment?
At the moment, I just finished Percepsi with Scope Production. I love that project so much.
I love to see that project on Instagram. I was like, girl,
so
kenapa
good.
Aku nak terlibat juga. Macam
Like,
semua member-member aku kat macam, tak best.
I know. One day, you'll definitely get the chance.
One day.
And then I just finished Akira Han with 𝙁𝙗𝙄𝙎
Nice.
and 𝘾𝙍𝙀𝙁. It was one of my favorite antagonist roles.
Oh, so
Yeah, she's so twisted. The role that I play, she's so twisted in wanting what she wants. You know, it is the same structure of all mega dramas and Malay dramas, but I think it's how you as an actress bring out the difference in that character or in that story. It's the same storyline.
Betul lah. I think a lot of the times macam kita ada banyak cerita yang orang selalu cakap repetitive tapi itulah tanggungjawab kita untuk cuba nak bezakan karakter.
Correct.
Tapi at the same time, you do like the same thing as me but slightly different dari segi macam as you said, a lot of the characters that you end up taking are antagonist characters. And I selalunya akan pilih protagonist lah. Tapi I think at the same time, I macam teringin sangat nak buat antagonist characters. You've been both, right?
Yes.
So what's the difference dari segi pembawakan both of the different characters? Which one do you prefer and why?
I think I love both.
Yeah.
In fact, I think any script that comes to me, I look at the character first. I'm so interested in like the story and the character because especially if I get to play different things. And I think as an actress in Malaysia, I'm very, very lucky to be able to be given the chance to play different roles. I did action. Coming up, Coast Guard. Coast Guard is coming up. My first action film. And I have a major fight in the film.
Yeah.
And normally, kalau pelakon perempuan, there's no way you're going to get a major fight. Except for Fifi lah. Fifi was one of the first, I think. That got like a major fight scene. Selalunya you macam by the side je.
You macam,
that's it. So when I got my first big fight, I was like so excited, and I got to experience action. I got to experience protagonist heavy dramas. I got to experience different level of emotions as an actress.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very lucky in that sense because I know a lot of actresses selalu kalau protagonist sahaja, kalau antagonist sahaja. However, I think the industry is already changing because see, Intan Najwa recently played an antagonist, the main antagonist, and then we also have 𝙁𝙗𝙄𝙎, who's also currently playing antagonist. And I feel like the industry has already changed that. What do you call it? Like the what is the word for it? Like you're always that.
Persepsi.
I guess so. Yeah, persepsi. Like you can only bring that kind of roles.
Like the typecasting, the stereotyping.
Exactly.
I think for me, the reason I selalu ambil protagonist is sometimes in the stories, at least the ones yang macam I pernah tolak or whatever is that the antagonist characters not really fleshed out very well. You know what I mean? Macam protagonist tu dia adalah cerita dia, latar belakang dia kenapa dia macam tu, and then the antagonist is a bitch. Kenapa? Entah. Dia macam tu. So kalau I dapat karakter-karakter macam tu, macam samalah dengan awak, I akan berpegang pada dia punya perwatakan macam mana, dan kalau perwatakan tu tak lengkap, dia jadi macam tak best lah. So then normally like I don't end up taking those roles.
However, like a lot of my antagonist roles kan sebenarnya it's not like that in the script. Not even the
You yang
storyline.
ciptakan benda tu, wujudkan
Including the dialogues. I discuss with my director first. I say, can I change this, because I made this backstory for this.
Yeah.
The director looks at me like, you're a scriptwriter
Itu tak
now?
normal tak? Itu tak normal.
It's not normal. Julia, just do it as it is. But most of my directors have been very supportive.
Yeah.
So a lot of my antagonist roles are normally things that I recreate on my own on set based on the backstory that I did for her.
Yeah.
So macam kadang-kadang menonjol, kadang-kadang it depends. Kalau script tu dah memang macam tu, tak menonjol lah. But if I get a script and I see an opportunity to tonjolkan dia, I would do it.
Faham?
And I'll discuss with my director like, can I do this?
Yeah, it's about collaboration, I think, at the end of the day. But you're doing so well, and I'm so proud of you, dude. Tapi I think something yang I mean, okay, so cerita dia, kenapa Julia ada kat sini? Dia antara salah satu sebab, because I wanted you on the show anyways. But I remember we met at satu event ni, and I was asking her like, babe, what are you busy with? And then we started talking about mental health. And then sekarang you cakap you're a psychologist. I macam benda ni datang dari mana? I baru dengar cerita belakang dia. Dia cakap dia banker, lepas tu dia pelakon, sekarang dia psychologist. Tak tahulah Mina ni everything boleh buat. But now you're doing like, you're a psychologist now, and you're also pada masa yang sama, as well as acting, sebab you tak slow down pun, tapi pada masa yang sama you're also doing a lot of work regarding like mental health and stuff. So yang tu macam mana awak termasuk dalam that thing pula?
Since I was a kid.
Right.
I've always been curious, especially when I moved back to Malaysia. I've always been curious of how the human mind works and why human behave so differently. Even as a kid, I would be so curious. And then it was my first experience of a contact with a transgender. When I was a kid, I think I was 8, we were visiting, and then I asked my mom, I was like, how come this woman has a male voice? And from there, I think I developed this interest to find out like, how did she get there?
Yeah.
Or what happened in the process? So since I was a kid, I've always had these questions. So when I decided what I wanted to study, I studied business first. And then, because I've always been interested in economy as well, economy and finance. So after that, I diverse to psychology, because I thought, I think I'm going to pursue psychology for sure. So till today, I'm doing my degree, and I'm planning to finish all the way till my PhD.
Amazing.
I really want to finish this, because especially in child psychology, I got 4 flat for child psychology. I'll send you a photo.
Girl, proud of you. I'm going to stick it in there. Next to the award, it's going to be right in the center of the entire show.
And then, so I've always been interested in like how the human mind works. And then as I developed this interest and my studies in psychology, I realized I myself have gone through a lot of emotional development, lack of emotional development. There's like a lot of lack in my emotional development, because I was never exposed to like a normal family, or I never grew up in a normal family. My dad was away, and I grew up believing that my dad didn't care about me and that he abandoned us. And my mom is someone who is very private, in not only private in a sense that she doesn't tell the public what's going on with our family, but also with her kids. And I have full respect for her choices. It's just that it affected us as children. So as we grow, there is a certain lack in our development, and there's certain aspects in our development that was affected. So when I became an adult, I didn't understand how I'm not able to regulate my own emotions. Kenapa orang lain macam senang je nak regulate emotion dia? Kenapa I find it difficult? So I thought like, maybe I should study this. And as I get to know myself again, I had to parent myself in a way. I had to reparent myself. And then macam, the more I got to know myself, the more I realized that as long as you have awareness and as long as you understand what you're going through, be it mental, emotional, physical, you would get to a better understanding of who you are, and you would know how to deal with them. You would know how to take better care of yourself. So I came up with this program called Mindfulness Through Meditation and Sound Healing. I am a certified meditation facilitator. I'm also a certified sound healer. So sound healer is basically different instruments we use to
like the bowl
sound.
kan, you macam tong and
And not only that, we also have gongs, we have drums, we
Wow.
have. So when people hear sound healing, they automatically think it's only crystal bowls. It's not.
Okay.
It's actually any instrument that gives out frequency is called sound healing. Because it's sound. Sound produces vibration and frequency. So these frequency and vibrations communicate with your body. So it's through these programs that I thought that really helped me with my healing, and I thought like everyone should know this. This should be an awareness for everyone. So I started this class.
Yeah. So I think that brings me to my next question. Macam mana education dekat Malaysia ataupun exposure dekat Malaysia sekarang mengenai mental health issues from like a professional's perspective? Sebab I tak nak bunyi dia macam aku terperangkap dalam bangsa bubble aku lah. Because in a way, I feel like I'm very exposed to these issues. But I also know that our country is so much bigger than KL. And a lot of the times macam kita punya exposure to these things akan membantu, because I feel like maybe from our parents' generation di mana kita tak ada sangat banyak exposure pasal benda-benda macam ni, and then diorang kena hadap whatever mental health issues that they're facing dalam diam, dia tak ada siapa nak luahkan perasaan. And then dulu kita punya culture kan macam kalau you tengah melalui some sort of like mental struggle, orang akan cakap diam lah, just deal with it lah, macam kenapa you macam ni.
Absolutely.
Daripada sekarang where slowly we see things picking up. But I wanted to get your professional feedback on the situation.
I wouldn't say professional, but
on the way. She gonna get her master's.
My perspective of it is that we just lack of awareness because we don't want to change. It's as simple as that. We don't want to understand. We don't want to change. I think like in our culture, we are so used to what we understand, apa yang kita dah faham, apa yang kita dah tahu, itu je kita nak tahu. Benda lain kita tak nak belajar. Benda lain kita tak nak tahu. Kita tak nak faham kenapa kita ada mental health issues in the society. Kenapa kita ada, all these issues coming up, and yet not enough awareness because people don't want to change. You have to want to change. You have to be aware that there is a problem before you can create change. Even in my class, sadly, I rarely encounter people who are aware of their own mental health issues. And sometimes bila kita cakap mental health kan, orang selalu immediately think, oh, orang tu gila. No. There is so many levels and so many range to mental health. There could be it could be like anxiety, it could be a mental disorder which includes like this is more like the extreme, which is psychotic, but there's also the very mild ones. Even like when you have bipolar or you have anxiety, it ranges from mild to extreme. Tapi immediately orang fikir macam, oh, kalau kau ada mental health issue, kau tak boleh nak kerja, kau tak normal, kau gila. But that's not true. You're just struggling sometimes with your emotions. Sometimes you're struggling to even regulate your emotions. That's about it. And when you're aware and if you accept that you have this problem, you will make necessary changes. And the reason why in our society we don't talk about it is because people don't want to be associated with someone yang gila. Even like a few actresses came out, sharing that they have bipolar, and exactly, they come out sharing it, and a lot of people would use it against them. You see the comments and you're thinking, why are you making this person suffer even more? Memanglah kau kan bipolar. Memanglah kau memang gila pun. Memang benda ni normal kalau dia buat benda macam ni. I'm like, dude, where's the compassion? Where is the humanity? Like, why do we do that? And then I come to realize that because there's lack of awareness.
But it's also something else. I think for me, dari pandangan saya, macam kefahaman saya lah, it's also fear. It's fear. Because a lot of the times bila orang macam rejectkan satu prinsip yang diorang rasa macam, okay, this is not me, right? Benda tu berasal dari perasaan fear, because like as soon as kita macam bagi space, bukan kita lah, not us directly, but as soon as kalau you seorang yang macam tak nak mengaku benda ni wujud atau tak nak buat research or whatever, it's normally coming from a place of like, if this is real, itu bermaksud mungkin saya kena buat banyak emotional work untuk betulkan keadaan saya juga. Because and emotional work is a very, very, very difficult thing.
True, but from my observation, selalunya orang yang ada mental health issue ni, dia lebih open, they're more open to understanding their condition. But it is the people who are normal, who doesn't
stigmatize.
And then it becomes worse because like this video that went viral, this man who was trying to jump off a building, and this was in like a local mall, and the comments on that video were like, terjun je lah, nak fikir apa lagi, tak payah nak menyusahkan orang. I legit cried, man, when I saw these comments because I have students who are going through these struggles. Sesuatu yang you rasa senang untuk you hadap, excuse me, may not be the same for other people. Sesuatu yang you rasa macam is very difficult to handle, maybe something very trivial for someone else. So every human being is different. So all I'm saying is like, have a little compassion. Understand that some people are really struggling, especially when people say like, oh, I had anxiety, and suddenly they start shaking and they're, I've actually experienced this on set. This person has anxiety and it's like, and I see like this person shaking and sweating and I'm like, everyone on set is like, menyusahkan je. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, like, let's just give him space or, get him a glass of water, calm him down. That's it. All you need is just a little compassion and understanding. We're not saying we have to stop shoot, but maybe one person could help him, take him aside, assist him with whatever he needs, and the rest of us can go on with shoot,
Very interesting. I would like one more pandangan lah dari you. I think this is not my opinion, by the way, but this is always the anti-theory. So like the pushing of mental health, the opposite argument is kalau kita lagi macam bagi ruang kepada orang untuk cakap benda-benda macam ni, nanti dia akan merosakkan minda anak-anak muda. That's normally like the counter thesis. What would be your stance on that? That's not my opinion, by the way. Itu bukan pandangan saya. But what do you think? As somebody who's studying it, as somebody who's a professional in the field, do you think it's important for us to talk about it, for us to research it?
Most definitely. And I'm going to quote Selena Gomez on her documentary because she openly spoke about her condition. She has bipolar. And she said that she gave an example, like when she was a child, masa dia kecil, dia takut dengan thunder and lightning. And her mother got her a variety of books on thunder and lightning to make her understand what it's all about. And as soon as she understood what they are, she never feared them again. So it's the same concept for mental health issues, anything related to mental health, right? As long as you know, as long as you study a bit about it, as long as you take like an initiative to understand something about it, you would begin to develop a lot of compassion, and you would develop like a lot of strength for other people who are going through mental health issues, because then you realize, oh, it's a condition and you can heal from it. It's not something that is permanent and going to destroy you. It will if you don't make changes. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm really proud of you for like speaking out about it openly and for like campaigning towards it and macam educate orang sebab it's a very important thing, especially nowadays, like especially with like coming out of like the pandemic semua. This was the stuff yang kita baca setiap hari on Twitter, on everywhere. Like you akan disekelilingi oleh this type of news, and I think education is so important. Do you feel like macam sebagai seorang pelakon juga, apa-apa pelajaran yang you dapat dari psikologi membantu awak bila awak macam menjalankan tugasan awak sebagai seorang pelakon?
Absolutely, 100%. I think like every school should have like a 101 psychology subject and make it compulsory. Because even just an introduction to child psychology, to behavioral psychology, all these things can help you not only for yourself, but in a social context. So when you're socializing with others, you're also more, you would have more empathy for others and yourself for whatever you're going through. So I think like when I study psychology, it helped me not only personally, but also with people around me and in a social context and also at work. It helped me in every aspect of my life.
I think that's very important. I think for me, like when I was researching you also, yang I tak nampak banyak lah yang you pernah cakap publicly about your personal experience with any type of like mental health disturbances or whatever. Kecuali there was one thing I noticed that really stood out to me. You pernah cakap that in 2018, I think, you were kind of subjected to some level of sexual harassment, which I'm sure must have caused you a level of mental stress.
Traumatized.
Can you tell us the story?
Traumatized. Yep.
Censoring out all the parts that we...
Okay, so what happened was I was very new in the industry. I just got off a set and I was called for casting. And I didn't think much about who's going to be there, what's going to happen, because this producer is a well-known producer, and the director was also well-known. So I thought I'd be safe, and I assumed there were going to be a lot of people at the office. And I told them I can only go at 8 p.m. because that's when I get off my current set. And then they say, yeah, okay, we'll wait for you. So when I got there, it was empty. The production manager opened the door. And then I was like, oh, maybe everybody left because it's too late. Good. Okay lah, tak apalah, we'll just go with it. And then as I entered the producer's room, I looked behind and saw the production manager closing the door and locking it. And I was like, maybe it's a dangerous area. I was still very optimistic about this whole situation. And then I thought, okay, tak apalah, it's just casting. Just do it. And then normal. It was an actual casting. We were casting. Lepas tu, I had to do several roles. And then nothing happened. And then right before I was about to leave, the director says, I'd like you to now show me how to act. Macam mana nak goda orang. And then I was like, okay, I've done a lot already. I went crazy. I did antagonist. I did protagonist. I was crying. I was like, okay, last one. So I did it. I did a monologue, kept my distance. And he specifically said after that, awak tak faham apa yang saya cakap. Saya nak awak goda saya. And then I was like, what does that mean? And I was like, okay, now I'm confused. The door is locked. Now everything that happened as I was walking into this room, they start datang balik, and I'm starting to feel a lot of fear in my body. And I'm like, okay, I got to act calm, because if I do anything unpredictable or if I start running out, there's no point because the door is locked. And I was like, where's my phone? Oh shoot, it's outside. I left it on the sofa. And then I was like, okay, let's just calmly try to get out of the situation. And then I told them, thankfully, I was never physically sexually harassed. It was just verbally. So more and more sexual harassment came in a form of verbal. And I got very uncomfortable. I honestly cannot remember the details anymore because all I thought at that time was, get out, Julia, get out. And I was looking at every possible way to escape. But I thought, okay, you know what, let's just do it the normal way. Like without showing anxiousness or fear, let's just try to normally just walk out the door. And I said, oh, I'm actually really tired. I think I've done enough for the day. I really would like to leave. And then I don't remember what happened after. All I remember was just literally getting out of the door. And I was telling the PM, can you please open this door? Like, boleh tak buka pintu ni cepat sikit? I'm rushing. My mom's waiting for me. And then he unlocked the door. I think he was confused too. He was like looking at me. And I just stormed out, running to my car. And I remember just crying. And I was like, what in the world just happened? I almost got into something horrible. Anything could have happened after, but I don't even want to think about it. All I know is at that point, I'm safe. I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to go for a casting again. And I remember after that, I always had someone with me, and I would always have a manager. And I don't know how much money somebody cuai at that time. I don't know how I even got to that situation. And I was so mad at myself. I was
of course,
upset with myself. Yeah, and I was so mad at myself because I was telling myself, like, how in the world did she even get in the situation? And if my mom's watching this, she's going to kill me. Because she, it was just traumatizing. So I think a year after that, or a few years after that, I developed this anger that I never knew was still in there. I developed anger towards every male director.
Apa yang I tengah rasa sekarang lah, a lot of anger listening to your story.
A lot of anger towards male directors, male producers, male in general. In general, I hated men. I've never, ever been verbally or sexually or physically harassed ever in my life. That was my first encounter. And I was generally very angry. I was angry at myself. I was angry at them. I was angry at every man that comes my way. And I became very, very defensive. So any director that worked with me in the period of, say, I think 2018 till 2020, this is like the dark period. I'm always angry on set. I hated everybody. And I think that everybody's out to get me. They are going to exploit me in some way, or they are going to use me in some way. And I've even had females in the industry offering me side jobs.
Oh, itu memang normal.
Itu memang, you always get that. And this is the reality of our industry that people don't know. And when I try to say something, lawak pergi casting sana pukul 8 malam seorang buat apa? Because I thought the industry was safe.
Yeah.
Because I thought I could trust these men who has kids.
Yeah.
They probably have daughters. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to a girl?
Yeah.
You know? So I went through that phase of just hate, right? But I started to heal after, because I'm like, why am I punishing everyone else that had nothing to do with that situation? These two men does not define every man that comes my way. So yeah, that's the story. That's quite heavy.
Yeah, it is. But you know, yang paling scary adalah bukan saja yang that story is heavy, it's also the fact that this is not a you only experience. There are so many like young women out there that face this stuff.
And you know why they don't want to come out?
Takut, malu. Dia
Exactly.
akan selalu.
Always, because we
There are even
the
actually
victim-
some men who also suffer from the same thing, some sort of like sexual harassment towards men, and
Yep.
they pun malu.
Correct.
But like worse, because it's like just to make things fair and even, right? Because I don't want it to sound like we're also like
Yep.
benci lelaki. But
No,
it's
no,
not.
no,
It's
no.
definitely
I'm
not
okay,
that.
guys. I'm totally okay
Yeah.
with men now. I've
Yeah.
healed.
Yeah, tapi that type of trauma response would even leave a guy who's a victim of sexual harassment feeling like, oh my God, women are really scary.
Yeah.
And it would do the same thing to a young woman. And benda ni macam sangat-sangat mengganggu because it leaves you with this residual trauma that you need to work through. And that's why mental health awareness is so important.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess my next question for you is like, what are your next steps to try to like membangkitkan the awareness in Malaysia? Because I know you do a lot of awareness stuff. So like, how are you trying to combat this in your own way?
I think at the moment, I work a lot with 𝙁𝙀𝙄𝙎 Studio. So 𝙁𝙀𝙄𝙎 Studio is a physical studio and a platform that creates a lot of mental health awareness. They do a lot of different programs. They do a lot of different workshops to help people through their mental health, mental well-being and emotional well-being. And for me, I think any opportunity I see in creating awareness for mental health, I would definitely do it. So if there is an event or there is a production or anything at all that comes my way, that would give me an opportunity to create awareness, I definitely would. However, so far, none of them have been successful because nobody wants to talk about it. And I've even approached MMHA. They are all for it, all for creating awareness. And then recently, we also have, we had this green ribbon campaign from one of the royalty, a princess who who basically campaigned for mental health awareness. And I think in this situation, right, it's not like a one man's job. I cannot do it alone. I cannot create mental health awareness alone. It comes with corporates who would want to do it, and then communities who would want to come together to do it. This platform itself, Studio Sembang, who would want to create more mental health awareness. And it has to be like a collaboration of different entities and different organizations coming together to create it. For me, I think personally, all I can do at the moment is continue sharing the program that I do at 𝙁𝙀𝙄𝙎 Studio.
I think, okay, my final question, I think, about mental health, just to wrap things up, is that bukan semua ada access to like mental health exposure properly. Bukan semua duduk kat KL yang boleh datang to the class. I mean, even though I'm about to sign up after this episode. Tapi what would you say is your advice as a psychologist to orang-orang yang dekat rumah yang tengah melalui something macam ni, yang tengah rasa macam, okay, kenapa aku rasa macam ni ke? Or maybe they've gone through something traumatic and they feel like diorang tak ada outlet. What would be your advice? What is something that you can do at home to try? I mean, it's very difficult to buat sorang-sorangan. But is there anything that can be done to try to self-regulate?
Definitely. There is a lot. In fact, because we live in like an area with so many access to like information and knowledge, and you can Google it. There are so many platforms on Instagram that shares mental health punya tools and programs that you can try. And there's also apps. There are so many mental well-being apps that you can try. And these are the things that you could do for yourself. If you don't have access to go to classes, you don't have access to professional help, you can always go through like these methods first. Because at the end of the day, even if you go through professional help, even if you go to programs, classes, workshops, kalau diri sendiri tak nak bantu diri sendiri, there's no point also. You have to be able to find that strength within you to help yourself, to make that first move. And then eventually, it will create a ripple effect. You will start with an app, and then you would want to learn more. You would go on websites, and there are even courses that you can sign up. And if you can't afford them, it's okay, because there are also free ones.
And for anyone that's watching, kalau korang nak any helpline numbers, I'm going to put some in the caption of today's video so that you have someone to call. Okay.
Yep, that's true.
So moving on to something else that's very exciting that's happening for you.
Whew,
This is
that was heavy.
Yeah, that was a heavy topic.
Like towards the end, we were like really
know,
heavy with like the
tapi
whole sexual harassment thing.
It's necessary.
It's necessary.
Tak ada orang nak buat sebab benda tu heavy. Sebab
Correct.
dia orang macam mana aku nak jadikan hiburan kalau hiburan ni heavy. But at the same
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
kalau
yeah.
kita tak buat, orang takkan buat selamanya, and then you're just gonna leave people feeling very alone.
Yeah, and even for me, it's only the second time I've spoken about it publicly.
Thank you for trusting me.
So
with it.
yeah, so I'm like, whoa, it really needs to get out there, and somebody has to do it.
For me, I always feel like my problems, I seorang yang macam kalau I ada macam tengah hadap apa-apa masalah, the thing that helps me is making sure that everybody around me sits down and I tell them. Because the act of talking through it and getting other people's feedback and like, am I crazy? Like, what's going on? It helps me. It's not so much sebab I memerlukan orang lain punya feedback untuk I membuat keputusan dalam kehidupan I, but it helps me dari segi I rasa firstly aku tak seorang-seorang.
And you gain clarity.
Yeah, I get clarity. And as I'm telling it, I'm also thinking about it. And dalam masa tu yang sama, aku tengah proseskan apa yang dah jadi kat I. So I think it's very important also to try to cultivate a really good circle of friends, a support system, your family, whoever it may be. Some people tak ada family, tapi perlukanlah ada support tu in some way, shape or form. Because human beings, we're social creatures. Kita tak boleh nak hidup berseorangan.
Betul.
So I think that's very important. But anyways, dah tutup dah dekat situ. If you guys want more information on mental health, you can check in the description below. We'll include some helpline numbers untuk siapa-siapa yang tengah mengalami any type of headspace issues for you to call and reach out. But moving on, there's more news that's happening in your life sebab this is tak tahu macam mana nak slow down. Okay, so as I said, hari ni kita tengah shooting the week of Diana Daniel punya episode nak keluar. And you punya episode is next week.
Right.
Tapi in 2 days, sebab timeline ni agak kompleks ya. I baru dapat tahu today, bila dia sampai dekat office I, siap-siap bawa donuts, that you're getting married in 2 days?
Yes, look at my eyebags.
This bride-to-be decided to spend time with us here at Studio Sembang 2 days before our wedding. Sis, aku terharu, aku bersyukur, dan sebagainya.
Because my fiance is very supportive. I told him that I'm gonna talk about mental health awareness. I'm gonna talk about my class. I'm gonna talk about programs. I'm gonna talk about emotional well-being.
I'm gonna put your class
for
details in the bio as well for anyone who wants to listen.
So he said, go, do it.
That's amazing.
He's very supportive.
Persiapannya macam mana sis? How are you so chill? How are you so chill? Like there's zero sifat bridezilla tu memang tak ada lah dekat dalam studio ni.
I think because I have a very supportive partner. My fiance is extremely supportive in terms of emotions, in terms of, everything from the preparation, and we did everything together, and we've even like give each other tasks to do. So yeah, it didn't feel stressful at all.
Equality terbaik.
Yeah.
So how did you meet him? He's a doctor kan?
Yes, he is.
How did you meet?
Mom met him first.
Oh.
Mom liked him. And then I've heard of him many times because we have quite a few mutual friends. But we never met. And then one day he just invited me to his clinic. So he
Okay, doctor. Sure. How much?
So, and I went because I went with my sister. Susanna was there. And because my mom said a lot of things about him, and then I was like, yada, yada, yada. Okay, let's go do some skin stuff. So he has an aesthetic clinic.
Okay, faham. So he's that kind of doctor.
Yes, but he is also a medical doctor. He worked at a hospital before.
Semua overachievers. Diorang berdua sepasang.
Yeah, both of us overachievers. So he also has an aesthetic clinic. And I went, visit, and then I remember telling my sister in Chinese, hey, he's quite cute, huh?
Your sister pun boleh cakap bahasa Cina?
Yeah, she understands.
Okay.
And then I was like, it's quite cute. But nothing happened. And then next thing you know, we're suddenly getting married. We rarely get to date.
So, but I'm sure you're also very, very busy people.
We're both very busy.
Faham.
And I think I just grew fond of him because of the way he is.
Yeah.
I think my past relationships always revolved around men controlling my movements.
Yeah.
It's always about where you are, where are you, what are you doing, what time are you going home. I'm like...
Faham. Tapi sebenarnya I think dating as an actress can be very tricky Because I think a lot of men end up being like that sebab kita punya pekerjaan membuatkan kita sentiasa macam bergaul dengan orang, kita selalu keluar, kita selalu on set, bercakap dengan ramai, and it takes a very, very, very rare, secure partner untuk boleh terima lah that thing. Even though there's tak ada apa-apa pun sebenarnya, tapi
yeah, it's true, and he's very secure. Because he knows I know how to take care of myself, and he knows if I'm not working, honestly, I'm home by 7 because I love to be home. I love home, and I love spending time at home. I love spending time alone, and yeah, I think I developed like a lot of fondness toward him because he's someone who is really chilled, but he's also someone who is full of purpose in whatever he does. And he does a lot of charity work as well in his line, medically.
Memang sangat ngam lah diorang berdua ni.
And apart from that, he's also studying. He's also furthering his studies. And he is someone who's very, very understanding. So I think like when he asked me to marry him, he asked my mom first. And then
gentleman, I love it.
And then I was like, honestly, I never wanted to settle down because I think like, oh, there goes my freedom, man. Because, you know, even as a Muslim, you kind of have to devote your entire life to your husband first before anything else. But I know that he is someone who would understand the needs that I have, the career that I want to pursue, and the studies that I'm pursuing. And I want to follow in my dad's footsteps. I want to finish my PhD. So I am very sure that he understands this.
Yeah.
And he's fully supportive of it. So I was like, yeah, maybe it's about time. So that's how it's happening.
I'm so excited for you. Okay, so cerita dia, bila korang tengok episode ni, you will be married.
Someone's wife.
Yeah. Tapi sekarang you're 2 days before your wedding.
Yeah.
What is like the one thing that you are bridezilla about? Or are you just like seriously slumber, you macam whatever lah?
We were both literally chill about it.
Yeah, because you're sangat chill. Dia macam datang hari ni, yeah, babe, I'm getting married 2 days.
Yeah, and also because it's only amongst family.
Faham.
Yeah, so it's not like a huge wedding where all my friends are coming.
Yeah.
It is sad, but to me, it's like, I kind of love that intimate...
it's nice.
That intimate, you know, wedding as well. So I thought, okay, it's only family. There was a lot to do, but also it's very chill because he's very supportive, and he doesn't make it feel like it's a burden. Everything we do, we make it fun.
Yeah, betul lah.
Yeah. So everything we do, we just try to look for the positive in it and the fun in it instead of stressing about something. Because you can always change your perspective.
Betul?
If you're going to think it's stressful, it is going to be stressful.
Betul.
If you're going to think it's happy, it's going to be happy. So I was super chill about it. Yeah.
I have a super happy and fun question to ask you. I tak tahu you boleh announce ke tak.
Okay.
But where are you guys planning on going on honeymoon? Can you answer it? Oh, it's a rahsia. Okay, so korang boleh tengok lah dekat IG nanti if you post about it.
I doubt I'll post about it, but yeah.
I doubt you'll post about it too, sis. I pun tak tahu dia akan kahwin dalam 2 hari.
I've had like probably,
today.
I don't know, how many holidays did I have this year? And not one is on Instagram.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I went diving. I mostly go alone. Unless that one time I went with Sally, Siti Saliha. We went diving in Sabah. That I posted because she was already posting stories anyways.
Yeah, fair enough. So you macam, okay, tak
So,
apalah.
okay lah, I'll post with her. But other than that, whenever I went diving, whenever I went on holidays, just kept it private.
That's so nice. I think it's important juga because we work in such a public industry untuk dapatkan space tu untuk you rasa macam okay, holiday ni milik saya.
And I just airplane my phone because if you're gonna go on a holiday and trying to get time to yourself, but then you're always on your phone, what's the point?
I kena belajar buat benda ni. Setiap kali I holiday, I still bekerja walaupun remote.
Yeah,
tak apalah. Anyways, thank you so much for answering all our questions. We do have some more coming, but that's the end of our first segment. Our next segment is actually, fun enough, a fan question.
Okay.
So normally for this segment, kita akan dapat fan question dari macam, they're always coming in, our fan questions, because we have a phone hotline that people can WhatsApp. And then nanti kita akan pandai-pandai lah match the fan question to the person that we think is able to answer them the best and provide the best help for it. So I got yours today, sis, and I think you're going to be able to really help with this. So let me read it to you. Okay, hehe. It's actually very pendek. Okay, hehe. So nak tanya about something. I selalu sangat ada masalah untuk control my temper. And then you guys ada tak cara untuk I ubah benda ni? This is the shortest question I think we've ever gotten, and it's straight to the point. Like normally diorang akan bagi macam cerita latar belakang apa semua. Ni dia macam, okay, how do I control my temper, girl? Okay. So what would be your advice?
Number one, understand where that temper is coming from. You must first, it's great that you already have awareness. Benda tu dah sangat bagus sebab dia sendiri aware dia ada masalah temper. Tapi the way to deal with it is, number one, understand where it's coming from. Understand your triggers. What triggers your temper? Sebab everything yang kita lalui ataupun experience, kita mesti ada trigger point dia. Contohnya bila kita marah, kita sedih ke, kita apa, we know our trigger points. You just know when you see a movie, I'm definitely crying on this one. So when you know your trigger points, you would know how to deal with it. So what is the outcome that you prefer for yourself? Contoh kalau sebelum you nak marah tu, there is going to be a repercussion, right? There's going to be like something that comes out of that anger. And normally we'd regret the results. So what is the ideal result that you want? So you kena fikir benda tu, you kena fikir what is the ideal result that you want, and then when you feel that trigger coming, remind yourself that I don't want this to happen. Like, I don't want the results to be like before. Maybe count to 10 before you even say something. Or give yourself permission to remove yourself from the situation or that place in order for you to calm down first and then get to whatever you need to do next. Because temper is it's a very broad aspect. Anything can trigger off temper, but there are certain triggers that would immediately take it off.
Yep.
So when you identify that, you're able to contain it. So yeah, that's my advice for you.
I think kalau ada apa-apa I nak tambah, walaupun tak ada orang tanya I soalan ni, actually the question's for you. It's basically, I mean, for me, another thing that I realized is like, you got to allow yourself to feel your emotions. And something lagi yang you kena pentingkan or you kena aware is that kalau you berada dalam satu situation, jatuh pula pillow studio sembang saya. Kalau you berada dalam satu situation ataupun maybe even in a relationship yang sentiasa buat you rasa marah, you kena fikir sama ada situation tu healthy untuk you.
Correct.
Dia satu benda kalau you memang seorang yang memang you ada sifat macam senang marah ni in all aspects of your life, then it sounds like it's something that you can work on. But at the same time, kalau you ada satu je issue, macam contohnya you go to work and setiap kali you at work, you feel very angry. Then maybe you need to
identify where it's coming from.
Exactly juga. Tapi betul apa yang you cakap. It's like, what is it that you want out of the situation?
Exactly. Because she's already aware of it.
Yeah.
So now you just have to know, okay, what triggers it and what do you want out of it?
Betul?
Because you got to get rid of that. That thing that triggers your temper.
Betul. Sebab it's not healthy to live in that kind of like sentiasa.
Because I have a great example to that question. I personally went through like a whole temper tantrum since that harassment, right? So every time I'm on set, I'm very defensive and I feel like everybody's offending me. And I'd always get very temperamental. But then I realized, why am I doing that? Because I want others to be gentle with me. Now that I've figured out, oh, okay, that's the outcome that I want, but I'm not going to get it if I'm being temperamental.
Yeah.
And I realized that I have to change that. And I changed myself first. Before kita nak nampak perubahan dekat sekeliling kita, kita kena ubah diri kita dulu. And then when I changed myself saying that, look, not everybody's going to understand what you want, especially when you're being temperamental. So identify where it's coming from. Forgive yourself for whatever it is you feel. Let yourself go through it. And then find a different solution, because there's always a different solution if you're willing to change your perspective. Betul. Lepas tu, like, there's one situation. It was a schedule situation. And then I was like, why are they disrespecting my schedule because of another actress? Why they tell me last minute, I've got a life too, you know? You just don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. You know? So I've already blocked that date for something else. In the past, immediately I would get offended because I think this is disrespectful. You're disrespectful. You're disrespecting my time. You're disrespecting me as a person. You're not wrong. And then I found a different way. The outcome, remember what was the outcome? I wanted people to be more gentle with me. Then I have to be gentle first. So I went up to them and then I was like, I have a little issue. I literally used that tone. I have a little issue with this date. So here I already have plans. So is there anything we can do to go around this date or whatever? And no issue at all. They changed it.
Sometimes you can jadi the change that you want to see in the world.
Yeah, that's why whatever outcome you want, you do it first.
Betul, betul.
And then you'll get it.
Example tingin. Betul. Well, we hope that nasihat kita hari ini boleh membantulah siapa-siapa yang tanya soalan tu kat luar ataupun maybe siapa-siapa yang tengah hadap situation yang similar. Yeah. And that actually brings us to our last segment for today, which is the rapid fire question. Yang ni,
yay, bring it.
Julia langsung sebab macam pandai-pandai lagi.
Even the previous ones, segment 1 and 2 kita tak prep pun. Actually, there was no script. She's very good. She's really that good. No script, guys.
Research ada. Script tak ada. Because we're friends also, sis. So I macam, tak lah, I just borak je lah macam biasa. Okay, so are you ready for the rapid fire questions? Rapid fire questions ni adalah segmen yang kita panggil dia rapid fire, tapi normally it's very very long fire lah. Dia long and slow fire sebab kita selalu akan elaborate pasal setiap satu soalan.
Okay, I'll try to make it rapid.
It's okay, I'm sure we can do this. Your first question is, what is your dream role that you haven't played yet?
Ooh, nice one.
Long. Rapid. Sebab masalahnya sangat. Tapi kalau
like,
orang tanya I juga, babe, aku takkan tahu macam mana nak jawab dalam masa terdekat sebab dia macam sangat open-ended. Macam
it's like, okay, what kind of character would I want to play?
Yeah.
Shoot. Something to do with culture and history. Any character like from the probably 40s.
Tak segan ke nak ambil karakter-karakter macam tu sebab you akan dibandingkan dengan the real life like person. Ke you rasa dia macam cabaran yang best?
Cabaran yang best.
Sebenarnya kan?
Yeah. Give me enough time to prep though. If you give me
janganlah macam okay besok you datang tak lah.
Yeah, if you give me like 1 month to prep, I think tak cukup masa. But I would love to do something like that. But I don't think I look like anyone historic in Malaysia. But if ever that opportunity comes up,
that sounds
love
really
to.
good.
You know, like Mona Fendi. Dude, no, I'm not saying I want to play Mona Fendi. The film that came out. Siapa?
I tak berani nak cakap nama dia dengan penuh.
Why? Is there?
Tak apa, kita move on. Next topic.
What? Because there's like a pantang? Oh, you're not supposed to say it? Too late. I've said it, Mona Fendi. Let's see what happens. Maybe we can make a film out of this. Oh God, aku sangat whatever we experience, Amelia, after this, we'll make a film out of it.
Kau jangan. You experience Surah ni. Jangan masukkan I dalam golongan experience ni. Aku tak nak experience apa-apa.
But I think Umi Aida seems fine. She played it well.
Umi Aida is amazing. Tapi kalau aku paling trauma buat cerita hantu kot. The last time I did a scary thing, I was a child. Sebab time tu I tak tahu apa benda tu scary. I love horror too. Tapi macam kalau I nak berlakon cerita,
no, I rather berlakon daripada tengok.
I rather tengok daripada berlakon. I kan tengok macam ni. So normally itulah cerita.
No, I cannot watch.
Kita terbalik.
I'm embarrassing if I watch horror movies.
Dia macam ni, I watch and then I ceritakan dekat you. You pergi berlakon and then you ceritakan dekat I. So kita macam perfect match sebenarnya. Okay, interesting. My next question for you is in your practice, what is like the best advice yang you pernah bagi dekat orang for like psychological management? If there's one saja yang you boleh sharekan dengan orang, how to regulate emotion.
Okay, I would say accept yourself for exactly the way you are. At whatever state you're at, if you don't like who you are, you can always change yourself. Yeah.
Betul.
So acceptance.
That's very important juga. Is you can be very comfortable with yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is your favorite memory throughout your career.
Favorite memory. Oh my God, so many. But what is my favorite? Okay, like in my career, like at work or
whatever. Throughout your all the careers.
I'm very bad at rapid fire questions.
Tak apa. It's okay, you can take your time. They're very deep rapid fire. So I tak tahu expectation kita macam mana. Next time rapid fire dia kena macam burger or pizza.
Right. That's what I was expecting.
That's a good question to tanya. You Italian kan? Pizza
for
or
sure.
Pasta?
Pizza for sure.
Over pasta?
Yes, definitely. Pizza.
Mamma mia.
I'm still at this best memory thing. Okay, I would have to say Coast Guard.
Okay.
Our training during Coast Guard.
Yeah.
The pre-shoot training, that was like one of my best memories. Because it was one of the toughest. It was one that made me realize how much strength I had and how I can be so determined. I'll give you one of the context of what I'm talking about. So we were when we were training, the trainer always said the boys had to do more than I do because I'm a girl. And I was like, no, I want the same amount of training. And then this one time, and we had to run like 15 kilometers a day. And we started 6 in the morning. Everybody wakes up for solat subuh. Lepas tu we start at 6 in the morning and we end at 11 p.m. And throughout training, I did not get sick and one of the boys did. So that's one of my best memories because I'm like, see, I told you I could do it.
Love
Yeah,
that.
but I had asthma attack in one of the
Oh my god, sister. Okay.
I do.
You had asthma?
Yeah, but no, it's very mild.
Oh, okay.
And I've never had any attacks since.
Tapi 15 kilometers per day lah, sis.
Yeah,
I
dude,
found.
and I don't even
Aku
work
yang tak ada
out.
asthma. Maybe
I don't-
will develop asthma if I try to do that.
And I don't work out. I'm not like I don't like to go to the gym. That's one thing we have in common. I know you don't like to go to
Oh,
the gym
I don't
from
like
the
to go to the
Idris
gym.
Hans episode.
Tapi
So-
Idris, dia seorang yang sangat determined lah. Dia selalu cuba pujuk lah.
Yeah,
And he's my neighbor somewhere. So dia macam, hey babe, you tengah free? Jom, gym. I'm like,
it's good for you. I do yoga. I love yoga.
yeah, like that I don't mind. Stretching I boleh buat.
Yeah,
Tapi
love
apa-apa yang
it.
memerlukan peluh, tu I'm out.
Perlu juga lah yoga because there's so many different types of yoga. There's hatha.
Tak lah, you buat lah dalam
there
aircon.
is vinyasa. Mana ada dalam aircon? We tutup semua aircon.
Oh, itu terlalu
Yes, and we
hardcore. I
have
buat
hot
depan TVI
yoga.
dengan aircon pasang, macam dengan kipas, dengan feeling macam.
You're probably doing it wrong. That's not yoga.
I think it's not yoga lah. Tak apa. Kita masing-masing.
Yeah, so that's one of my best memories.
I have 2 more rapid fire questions for you. The next one is, can you give us a hint about the dress?
The dress.
Yeah, you tak payah nak bagi tahu kita macam mana.
Okay.
Because I know it's like, it's your thing. I want you to keep it
horrible
private.
at hints.
But like maybe like
What do
color
you wanna know?
or
It's white.
detail. Oh. White.
It's the wedding.
Yeah lah, betul. Tapi is there any detail? Like, are you like a mermaid gown kind of girl? Are you like flowy?
I have no idea what it is because I fully entrusted my friend with it.
Sis,
His name
you're
is
getting
Justin
married in 2
Yap.
days. You haven't seen your wedding dress?
I have.
Oh. You said
And-
you have no idea what it is?
No, but I don't know what it's called.
Oh,
I don't know what the design is
Dia
because
flowy ke macam mana? I know what the design is. I boleh pakai tahu. Exercise pun aku tak pandai. Ni I know.
so
It's like flowy. Tighter.
No, it's
Big
very
top, big bottom.
no, it's very
Sis
it's
tengah
very
korek ni.
yeah, no,
It's
I
very
don't
macam
know.
mana?
So I just told Justin, he knows what I love. He always dresses me for red carpets and whatnot. So
okay.
I said, okay, you know me, surprise me. So he did.
And how do you feel about it?
Amazing.
Are you
As always, I
excited for
trust him. I am excited. Super excited.
Married. Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
So it's very
for you.
simple, which is something I really love. I love something very minimal. Yeah, so that's what it is. But if you ask me designs and whatnot, I can't help you.
Faham? And I think it's
I
gonna
cannot
be.
even help myself
Kalau I
to,
boleh
to answer that
imagine
question.
as your friend what it's gonna look like, I think it would be simple, classy, elegant, understated. Tak adalah diamond, sparkling,
You're
sparkling.
right.
It's just simple,
Wow.
elegant, classy, and like very like lady.
Wow.
I think me, if I ever get married, it's gonna be bling, 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 crystal diamond, full eyeliner. Like, we're not the
Yeah.
same, but I know you, girl.
we're
Like, I
complete
feel like
opposite.
complete
But
opposite.
in a
I
good
want a
way.
tiara. I want a wand. I'm gonna be like bibbity bobbity boo woo. That's me. Oh, so funny. So our final rapid question. I think you're gonna look so beautiful. I can already imagine
Thank
it.
you.
I think my final question for you is, because this episode comes out in the second week of December, which means that we're coming up to New Year's. So what are your New Year's resolution and what do you hope for in 2023?
Wow. Rapid fire question, huh?
Kan
But
dah cakap, this
I
is
love the
bukan rapid fire
question.
ni. Berapi. Soalan berapi lah kita rename.
Resolution. Haven't thought about it. Because normally you think about your resolution like a week before, right?
Ni dah macam 3 weeks
You
before
macam-
kita dah dekat dah
Exactly.
sebenarnya.
Okay, so let's see. Resolution. Growing into the better version of me. I like that.
It sounds good.
Clapping off for
Dia macam
myself.
something yang I boleh tiru sebenarnya sebab dia
Yeah.
macam tak seberapa.
Like in every aspect.
Faham.
Like career, personal, family. Oh my god, I'm a wife.
I'm so excited for you, sis. All the
Yeah.
best. God
Thank
bless
you.
you and your husband. Sebab by the time cerita ni keluar, he's going to be your husband.
Yes.
And
He is.
semoga kekal hingga ke jannah. I'm so
Thank
happy
you.
for
I mean, thank you so much.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, that brings us to the end of this week's episode of Studio Sembang. Thank you to the amazing Julia for being so fantastic.
Thank you,
Yeah.
and everyone here for having me.
No, I'm happy and I would happily do it
Honestly,
again.
I'm going to say this again. I'm a big fan because I watched you since your first episode and I absolutely love it. I love the platform. I love the topics. I love everything that you talk about and with all your guests. And I feel like it's so important for someone to come out and allow others to be themselves and not do something or say something that portrays otherwise. So kudos to you and your team. I absolutely love Studio Sembang.
Terima kasih sangat-sangat. Sis
Number
dah
one
malu, so
fan.
nasib baik episode dah nak habis.
And I got a cup.
And you
I
got
got a
a cup, it's
mug.
got your
I got
name
a
on it
mug,
on the back,
yes.
sis. There we
Love
go.
it. Thank you,
Thanks,
Studio
girl.
Sembang.
You're most welcome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Jangan risau, kita akan kembali next week with another episode setiap Khamis 10 malam di YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and we'll see you there. Bye!